Yesterday marked 30 years since the last act of a bizarre series of weather events that became the storyline for a best-selling book and a Hollywood movie of the same name, The Perfect Storm. And there's even a Penn State connection. Now, on October 28, 1991, a low-pressure system developed along a front southeast of Nova Scotia and rapidly strengthened, not unusual in that part of the Atlantic. Meanwhile, a hurricane named Grace was about 700 miles to the south. And 24 hours later, the hurricane's moisture and energy were pooled into the circulation of the still intensifying storm. And the large pressure difference between the low and a high over eastern Canada created strong northeast winds with a long fetch, sending huge waves to the coast. By this time, the Andrea Gale, the fishing vessel immortalized in the perfect storm, had already made its last known radio contact from just south of Newfoundland, reporting winds of 90 miles per hour. Now, the storm actually peaked in intensity a day later and oddly moved west toward the east coast. And by Halloween, its center was about 250 miles offshore and waves commonly approached 40 feet. On land, winds reached hurricane force on Cape Cod, but heavy surf and coastal flooding did most of the damage. In Maine, the vacation home of then-President George H.W. Bush was damaged, while in Massachusetts, property loss was in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The storm had one strange twist left. Over relatively warm ocean waters, thunderstorms formed in bands near the storm center. Early on November 1st, it became a tropical storm, and 12 hours later, a hurricane. The storm completed a loop, recrossed its path, and raced northeast, making landfall in Nova Scotia as a tropical storm on November 2nd. It was never officially named because officials feared doing so would cause confusion, given that the news media was still focused on the damage already done along the coast. The storm was simply known as the Halloween storm of 1991, until author Sebastian Junger spoke to Bob Case, a Penn State meteorology alum who was in charge of the National Weather Service's Boston office at the time. Case's description of the unusual, nearly ideal circumstances that produced the strong storm inspired the title of Junger's book, The Perfect Storm, in 1997, and the movie version 3 years later. With the perfect storm acting as an atmospheric block off the East Coast, the pattern upstream was ripe for another simultaneous historic weather event, an early season blizzard in the upper Midwest that set the all-time single storm snowfall record in Minneapolis, 28.4 inches, and dumped 37 inches in Duluth, where snow fell for 72 straight hours and winds gusted to 60 miles per hour. There, it's simply known as the 1991 Halloween blizzard. The first snowflakes of the season have finally fallen in Pennsylvania. Are more in store? Stay tuned. The extended forecast is next.